They say you got a new style. Watch out there now. It's your humble servant, Foul Shot, reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network. Peace and blessings to all of you who just trying to keep it real in the battlefield. You know what I've noticed among the content creators that I subscribe to? We all kind of seem to be on the same vein of consciousness, whether we're going through spiritual warfare, things not working out the way we had planned, you know, being uncertain of maybe our next move or whatever the case may be. See, this is where, I guess simultaneously, to my eyeballs, as the illusion of the world seems to be dissipating, discovering the way things function isn't really what we were sold or told. To me, the word has become more alive in application and practicality. If you look at the celebrities and you know how they're taking to drop, various rappers, movie stars, politicians, they all look like douchebags. They're like horrible people. You know what I mean? Behind closed doors, as whatever they've done in the dark has now come to the light. The ways of the Most High are actually the way to live. You're gonna have to be long-suffering. Two of the content creators, because at first when I started, fumbling around on YouTube, I had a government phone. I didn't know nothing about commenting on the video. I didn't know nothing about subscribing. And it seems as though along this journey, I've come to information I don't know I needed. So two of the main individuals that were instrumental along my walk were New Breed and the Thinking Man's Templar, who he has videos on YouTube, but he's more so moved to Patreon. And a few other brothers I've discovered along the way, Iron in the Soul, Intuitive Anthony, I don't want to forget anybody. Those are two or the four rather, that come to mind offhand. We're all making somewhat similar content in reference to long suffering, endurance, letting go and let God. Just basically, okay, whatever your situation is, okay, what can I do in practicality that's within my means and resource to do? And just do that. And leave all the rest of it up to the Most High. I tell you what, it'll take away stress and anxiety and all that type of stuff. Because like I said, okay, when I left the job the first time, up until now, I ain't been a good steward of nothing. You understand? So I had built up some financial resource. So in my mind, I got to keep the ball rolling. Went through various job trainings. Had about 10,000 jobs. Don't even go because my spirit ain't feeling it. And then I'm like, am I getting lazy? Whatever. That wasn't my lane. But I have to go through the journey or the path to actually find what my lane is. It's all leading to the lane I'm supposed to be on. I just got to walk it out like DJ Unk. So seemingly, again, something that I thought that I was beyond, I'm being moved back into in the realm of the substance abuse treatment industry, which is probably my main skill. And then from my experiences, just like you got a pastor man who preach out the Bible, but a lot of times he don't tell you how to apply the Bible in whatever your particular situation is. I'm well versed in, helping, anybody, but more so brothers, about how to move out here, which would probably be the NAAA literature, right? But how do you apply that when you're still living in the hood? How do you apply that when you're in a toxic relationship? You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times the people who teach on these topics or may hold a group or something to that effect have the same issues that they can't get out of. That's why earlier I'm like, well, why am I listening to you? Yeah, it sounds good, but I haven't seen you apply none of the stuff, which actually put me on a path of kind of, even though I'm still in it, like breaking away and finding my own answers. As they say in today's time, finding my own truth, the stuff that worked for me. That worked for me, but I got to put my own seasoning on it. You know what I mean? You ain't got no choice but to endure. What else you gonna do? Actually, I couldn't even quit if I wanted to. Quit and go where? Back in the world? It don't even look appealing to me. I know it's fake. Even when I was in it, I knew it was fake. It was just the drinking and whatnot just kind of kept me in that orbit. And I didn't know any other thing exists. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I see this, but what am I supposed to do? I didn't know about the transition period. I just thought I was just supposed to jump from one thing seamlessly into something else. You know what I mean? I didn't understand the pulling away, or how friends pull away at you. I didn't understand gang stalking, or like, for me it's more subtle. You know what I mean? People love bombing you and all that, and then later on, when that don't really take hold, then they try to set you up. Then they get mad when the setup don't work and all that there. I've come to enjoy my own company. That which was very vexing to me, just human interaction. But now I understand the vast majority of humans, if they're not, when you come around, they'll get hacked, just like on the Matrix. And it is what it is. It ain't nothing for me now. It ain't nothing to get all vexed about and whang, whang, whang. You know what I'm saying? This is just a battle. It's no different than being in a war and getting overly vexed, maybe at first, about, bullets whizzing past your head. It's part of the territory. The key is to do everything in your due diligence not to get hit. But if you always worried about why am I you're not in the moment. And that's another thing I've come to a greater degree. And my man Rick really, like, those his two key points: staying in the moment and practicing some acceptance. You know what I mean? Outside of that, if I put those various, like I talked about, my custody situation, vocational situations, certain longings for certain things, whatever the case may be. Once I kind of dial it back, I'm copacetic than a mug. I don't, and this ain't no ego thing or nothing, but I don't know a whole lot of people who have walked the path I walk and function in it the way I function. Most people ain't got no, so I'm like Tommy on Martin, I ain't got no job. But by the Most High and his upholding of his righteousness with his right hand, I ain't missed no bill. And then there's been instances where something burned down. I'm like, man. Am I going to, here come a doubt thought. Am I going to come all this way just to take the drop or be behind on bills? Then in 2 days, I'm right back where I would be at. Somehow, the math is mathing when it shouldn't math. You know what I mean? Like, okay. You know what I'm saying? You know how the word talks about, as long as you got food, shelter, rent, just being content. You know what I mean? Like, it's all to the good. And ultimately, you have to have some belief and faith that even if things don't get better, you'll get better at handling it. How else, especially for a man, how else do you mark a man? Like all these men we may esteem throughout history, whether they might be, a general or some war hero, entrepreneur, whatever the case may be. The reason we esteem them to the degree we do now, whatever their field, is because they went through hardship and overcame it. The word talks about overcoming and the reward of those who overcome. I wouldn't be who I am now had I not, I've been through so much detrimental stuff, I can't even remember all of it. But none of it has taken, it might have, hindered me or vexed me for a season, but none of it has taken hold. Whether it be, homelessness, betrayals, doors of opportunity being shut, things not making any sense. Things never make any sense in my life. And here's one I deal with, or I had to go through, the disappointment, and you go through this long, arduous journey, right? You get a breakthrough, and then in your mind, you're like, okay, I can take it here, finally, whoop, the whoop, the whoop. And it runs for a minute, and then it all falls apart. I thought this was the catalyst that was going to take me to the next level, or continue on a progression of, where I think I'm trying to get to, right? And then it all falls apart because I stood on what's right. And then it make you think like, darn, maybe if I could have just turned a blind, but I couldn't have done it if I wanted to, because I'm down by law. You know what I mean? So now I'm somewhat back in a similar situation I've always been in. However, because of the journey, I'm able to maintain financially, mentally, physically, emotionally better, because it's like basic training. I'm trained to do this. That's why and I do take confidence in this, and what the Most High has walked me through and brought me through. I see people go through a fraction of the stuff that I'm dealing with now and get depressed or just go deal with whoever just to take their mind or distract themselves from, the issue at hand. Like I said in the previous video, you got all these overwhelming things going on in your life. What's the most pertinent and address it head on? A lot of stuff I have to address head on. I don't even know how I'm going to do it. I just show up on the battlefield and somehow I get the W after a period of time. And then that builds confidence. What is it? False evidence appearing real? It ain't even as big as you think it is. It's just all stuff you got, well, me anyway, it's just all stuff I got constructed in my mind, which is typically the worst case scenario. But the worst case scenarios never happened. When I broke my neck, here I am. When I was going to court, oh boy, they gonna throw me this time. I get a reprieve. It's various, I guess, issues in the streets. I've been shot at a couple times. I was actually with a partner of mine when he got shot. And look, and prayed, right, because I knew we was going into a dangerous situation, but it's my man's in them, so I'm like, I'm gonna rock with you. So I said a little prayer. I said, Lord, be with us. He got shot. I got shot at. True story. And he got shot twice. He got shot in the small of his back, and the bullet ended up bouncing out. After we go to the hospital, we get out, he rapped to us or whatever. He said the doctor told him had the bullet went, I don't know, a millimeter to the left or right, he'd been paralyzed. Now he drive truck. Just totally removed from that lifestyle. We have to live to put our total faith, and that's what he wants, to put our total faith and trust in the Most High. Like I said in the previous video, okay, we know all, the political stuff, how they're, jacking up the food, or how they create this adversarial situation between men and women and da-da-da. With all that being said, you still can't outsmart it. Now, up to a greater degree, I'm understanding how the weapons of our warfare aren't carnal, but they're spiritual. This is all a spiritual battle taking place in the physical realm. You can't be, like, okay, like say when Moses, told Pharaoh, let the people go, he didn't go get like the super duper soldiers in the Egyptian army. He got magicians and sorcerers. It's a spiritual battle. I'm starting to see this whole thing in ones and zeros, just like when Neo got, when he got fully awakened per se. And the thing that was chasing him around and beating him up and trying to off him, right? Once he came into his own, there was nothing to him. The joint throwing all these haymakers at him and whatnot, he looking the other way, just blocking it effortlessly. Because I guess if we want to parallel it, and even if you want to look at his journey, of doubt or I don't know, and that's typically what happens when you first come out of something. Then you face these various battles, and it brings out of you what was lying dormant in the first place. How else is it going to come out? You don't even know it's there till you're in it. Just like I said, you don't know what you'll do until you're in a situation. I don't even try to I go into these hypotheticals in my mind, but I can kind of cast that off to a degree. I'll do whatever needs to be done when it needs to be done. You may not know what to do, but I've seen time where magically I'll know what to do when the time comes, which to me is an aspect of just living in faith and just walking this thing. Like, see here in Babylon, everything's inverted, or how the natural way humans live all their existence here on earth. You know what I mean? Just like I wonder now, are there any American philosophers? They must be experiencing budget cuts. Back in the day, like in African culture, like they come up with these great proverbs of life. The average person who's, in the matrix to some degree doesn't have their own life philosophies because they're living life how they're programmed to or indoctrinated to through TV or family or whoever, That's why most people don't really know who they are. Outside of a job or finance or anything they attach to themselves. But who am I really deep down? Go through some you'll discover some hardship. The hardship in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I try to take the component of good or bad out of stuff. It just is. And when I take it as it just is, I'm better suited to handle or to effectively address whatever the situation is. Ultimately, if we all say we're men here, we're going to have to be able to problem solve and just know what to do. But how you going to know what to do if you ain't never been in nothing? Or if you shied away from it, or didn't address it, or got overly emotional internally about this. Why this happening? Why is this? Why is that? This is part of living life. It actually makes life exciting. Let me tell it. I live in uncertainty. So much so, I don't even categorize it as uncertainty. It's just a part of living life. But, for the most, like, I'm able to make wise decisions in who I surround myself with. I don't need social validation. I like to present myself to the world a certain way as far as how I dress. And maybe if I start making videos before I go to work, like y'all see that or whatever. You know what I mean? But outside of all that, I do all that for me, not to impress anybody else. Because I don't need validation. Now, I would, like, if somebody say, oh, you look nice, I think that's cool. It just don't go to my head. Or because I got that hit, now I'm overly trying to impress people or get validated by people. That more oftentimes than not, from my perspective, behaviorally and spiritually, are scum. It is what it is. What I look like hanging out with or bowing down to scum. And that's not from a superiority complex. That's from a confidence of the Most High walking me through stuff. And not just walking me through it, but the skills and attributes that were honed internally from the press. I ain't gonna say I welcome it, but I don't duck away from no hardship. I don't duck away from addressing no issues. Nah. I actually, I don't look for it or towards it, but I don't shy away from it either. But again, that's been home. Like, okay, I would like to call it the Gideon principle. I think Gideon was doing something, just regular stuff like we all try and do. And then he get called. And he said, what, mighty warrior of the Most High? I'm paraphrasing. He like, me? Man, I ain't nobody. But as he walked them through the process, that's what he became. They got a whole section of a book that you find in hotels where everybody be splacking at, called the Gideon Bible. You know what I mean? And he went through, the doubt. And I had a similar situation, right? Where in the story of Gideon, what he talk about? Like, he calls him or whatever, and then he like, well, if this really you, I'm gonna lay my coat down, and I'm paraphrasing, and I might got it misconstrued, but I want my coat to be wet, but the ground dry, and then you do that. He like, wait a minute, hold up, okay, if this is really you, this time I want my coat to be dry and the ground be wet. True story, right? Commercial break me, please. So one time, I first got to Baltimore. This is the end of 2016, right? And out of nowhere, I get this number 7 in my spirit. So it's a brother from Virginia Beach that I'm chopping to him. He was more on the spiritual side. He like, yeah, man, you need to look into that. I'm like, all right. And I wore number 7 when I played football in high school. Just gravitated to the number, not understanding anything of significance about that, right? So I was going to I was going to a church after I broke my neck, and they were very instrumental, right? Which is in another county. So I said, man, I'm gonna go visit the church again because I had been away for a minute. Hop off the light rail, and I can just walk all the way down. So I think it had rained like the night before. Oddly enough, I'm walking down this path, and this is back when I used to find money on the ground all the time. Not a whole bunch of money, but 10, $5, whatever, right? So I'm walking down this path, and the ground was wet. Now it's a wide open path. And there was $7 folded up in the middle of the path, right as I was, walked right into it. I picked the money up. The money is completely dry, even though everything around the money was wet. I looks around, and it's a wide open field. So somebody had to have dropped it recently, but had they have dropped it recently, I would have seen them. And there was nobody around. It was like first thing in the morning. It might have been like 8, 9. You know what I'm saying? Okay, put that in my pocket. Go to the prayer service. We chopping it up. And the woman tells me, I feel the number 7 in my spirit referring to you. And God said, you need to look that up. So when I looked it up, when I finally, got the chance to, I forgot all the components. But I'm a firm believer, if you don't know the truth, you should know the truth when you hear it, or it should resonate with your spirit. So it pertained to divine completion. At this point, I'm just starting out. Subsequently, the spot I was at closed up, and them folk left like the Baltimore Colts. The dude they brought in for to get the medical billing number took us over East Baltimore. He do the same thing in another 6 months. Then a housing organization comes in, and then they turn that joint into the Terror Dome. This is earlier on. I was lost in the sauce, and by this time I probably relapsed. But that always stuck with me. And I'm thinking 7 as far as a time period, which I'm past that now. And actually, when I got that was the 7. But I wasn't thinking it was pertaining to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm always looking, like when. Now I done dialed it back. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. So I'm not waking up every day like it's the day today. It's the day today. Will this change? It'll change when it get good and ready. And when it get good and ready to change, because I got a glimpse of it when I first got back to the town I live in now. And I think that was kind of a test too, where I'm gonna give you a glimpse of it, I'm gonna give you a taste of it, and then I'm gonna pull it back and see how you act. But I've got a glimpse of the out of like the Money Bag Yo and Little Baby song. All of a sudden, you in a whole different realm. But again, the journey that put me on that, making some, taking calculated risks, put me on a path for a breakthrough that I thought the door was closed on. And it fully situated me in a place and in a position that I never wanted to be in. But then once I was in it, I was able to flow in it. Because in the town I live, I got a lot of using history. So I never wanted to be there. But the Most High had other plans. I do what I kind of plan to a certain degree or try to do certain things. And if it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. But I don't get all bent out of shape. Because like when we go into the word of, how's it said? To give you expected end. I know the thoughts I have for you. I think I inverted those, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Like we had to take this literal. You can't believe in nothing else. Everything else is a lie in the matrix or the world, as they say. That's why those of the chosen ilk can't function in the world, because we ain't supposed to be part of it. It's actually a good thing when they betray you or they reject you and all that, because you probably wouldn't know what, well, speaking for myself, I wouldn't know what I know now. I wouldn't be able to stand on my own. I wouldn't be uncompromised. I'd be, bending and doing all that there and maybe pandering just to be accepted, thinking if I can be accepted, then maybe I'll have certain things in life. You know what I'm saying? I got all the things I need and ain't work nowhere and feel great about it. Just like not having no job hasn't affected my confidence, because my confidence don't come from no job or anything external. I'm vastly a different human being. So much so, the elder board members of my family have gotten their prayers answered, and other family members who, may have been on the other side of things, I'm totally unrecognizable to them. They don't even talk to me no more. And I'm cool with that, and I still got love for them. Out of all the stuff I've endured, I ain't got no hate in my heart. Look, I actually ran into my work daughter. And in reference to my daughter mother, right? Because I try to, genuinely, lead them in the right direction. Not on no, super authoritative tip. Because I know that don't work. But just, kicking it to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, try this, or nah, don't, or whatever the case may be. And I believe both of them individuals try to set me up. And in the past week, I've been moved in compassion. I said, man, help them, Lord. They don't know what they doing. I ain't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. But it makes it look like I know what I'm doing, because I'm attempting to do it how the Most High say do it, even if it don't make no sense. And even if I don't get the desired answer I want. We're like God's NPCs. We're like soldiers. We can only take orders, which I don't mind doing, because that way I ain't got to overly think. And I try, even if I take the order and something seemingly bad happen, it must be for my good. So I'm going to just roll it down. You know what I'm saying? A good soldier follows directions. Now, I might ask some questions about how you want me to do it or whatever. But I'm not arguing like, I don't think that's going to work. How am I arguing with the Most High? He made everything that I can perceive. Like when he G-checked Job, when he asked him about suffering. He said, man, where was you at when I separated the waters from the land and set the stars in the sky? Who was you to question me? Man, go ahead, cuz, man, you all right. You know what I'm saying? And then once you get past, you forget all the suffering. I'm famous for that. Get out of jail, get right back to doing what I'm doing that landed me in jail, and act like I was never in jail. Now it's taking those negative or those left-hand side of things I was doing and applying it the right way. Yeah. So this just a little quick one, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know, a little encouragement. Just keep on with the keep on. We've all probably been, oh, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bill. Or let's say everything did fall apart. You still on earth, ain't you? How they say, it's kind of insensitive, but did you die? You still here, right? Oh, what they going to say? I don't even care. I don't care what nobody think. I'm too busy worried about what it is than be worried about what somebody think about what it is, who ain't going to help me none. I think that's why I like, well, I help everybody to the best of my ability as I'm moved empathetically. Well, I don't never get no help. This don't make no sense. I'm the realest Negro Negroes know. Let me tell it. But I don't cross nobody's mind. Because he was teaching me to utterly depend on him and not man. So it's kind of fortified me to a degree. When Thinking Man's Templar was talking about, you know, long suffering. It's on Patreon. It's about $5 a month. He been coming with some heat. And now this brother living in Brazil. And he talks about his journey, you know. Drug addicted mom, grandma had to save him. You know, bad relationships, being couch to couch, having to do things you don't want to do and hustling, and then getting that one window where you at that proverbial fork in the road, and you can either dial back and be like, man, it ain't, you know, this just what it is. Or you can jump out on faith and go for the gusto. And on that note, I implore y'all, live by faith, go for the gusto, cover your six,